Okay, so this is a question that most of you guys are going to have, and that is, what are the settings on the Smooth Trader concept? So we're going to go through the settings one by one so I can explain to you guys what you have here, and if you want your charts to look like mine, or if you want to understand what's in here, we're going to unpack that right now. So the first setting here is the ATR configuration. So you don't have to do anything with this. What this basically does is gives you the average true range of the candles, which you can see right here on the corner, top right corner of the chart. You can see ATR right now is 3.62. You don't really have to mess around with this, so I leave this alone. I haven't messed with that at all. Now, next you're gonna have the VWAP general configurations. Now, the VWAP, I have it set on 1 day. That opens up at the 6 p.m. open. That is Eastern time. That's the session open. I don't change that. Some people use a weekly, some people use a monthly, or you can go custom. You can change the VWAP to whatever period you want. I leave it on that. I don't change anything else. Now, when you go down a little bit, you're going to see the band factors. Well, if you choose to go with custom, then you'll change the custom date here. But the band factor here would be your standard deviation. So you go 1 standard, 2 standard, 3, and 4 standard deviations away. And then as you go down here, you're going to see the time divided VWAP, or you can hide the previous VWAP if you want to also include the VWAP from the previous day. You're going to show the current. That's what I have. So the current bands are going to be the purple bands in the background. Now, to activate them, you have to turn these on, and then you have to pick a band color. Now, we have purple. That's the one that I go with, but you can choose whatever color you want. Just keep in mind, whatever color you choose, it'll color the VWAP and the background the same color. As you can see, our VWAP is right here. It's colored purple, and we have our purple standard deviations in the background. Next, we're going to go down to the CVD indications. CVD is going to give you the bars down here, this pane that you see with the histogram. That is going to give you, you don't change anything here. You keep it on raw delta. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't even know what aggregate delta would do. I've always kept it on raw delta. CVD presets, I always keep it on a step higher time frame. And this, I also keep it on 1 day. I do not change it. Fix higher time frame. I keep it on 1 day. Now, the intra-bar position, this is where you're going to want to kind of play around with if you feel it's beneficial. I keep it on medium. Medium will give you will give you a good amount of absorption candles. If you go to short term, it'll give you less absorption candles, but they'll be more precise. If you go to long term range, they'll give you less candles, or sometimes they'll give you, in some instances, they maybe give you a few more, but it's not going to be as accurate. As you can see here, we don't have the same amount of absorption candles. They change because what happens is it has a longer look back. So I keep it on medium. I keep it on medium look back, so that way you can see here it's a little more advantageous for me. It's somewhere in the middle. Now this here is going to change your histogram color, which is down here. You can change it to any colors you like. Now the absorption candles, remember, you want your absorption candles to pop out. You want them to stick out. So your absorption candles, I keep my bullish absorption candle yellow, and I'm keeping my bearish absorption candle like this mauve color, this light purple color, because since I have a purple and a black background, I can't really use a dark purple. So I'm using a very light purple, as you can see here, right before this power short indication. I have it right there. Okay, so that's the colors I use. Now, in order to see the absorption candles, you have to make sure this is checked. The absorption candles are the candles that show that buyers or sellers are absorbing the negative delta or the positive delta. Now this midline point here, all it's going to do is get rid of the midline on your histogram, and you turn it back on. It goes right there. CVD labels. This basically gives you the high. It gives you the high and low, and then the hover values. This is very cool. This hover values, you can turn it on or off if you want. This I've never seen on any other indicator before, any CVD indicator. What happens here is you can click on any, you can just hover over any candle, and it'll tell you the delta. As you can see here, negative delta, positive candle. You see here, big negative delta on this one, high volume, right? Compared to possibly, let's say this one here was only -1. This one was negative. This one here was negative 59. This one was -86. So you see that you can read the delta right on the candle, which is awesome. I've never seen that before. Let's go back in here. All right, so next we have the heat map. So the heat map, this is very important. The heat map changes the color of the candles. It changes from, my colors are light pink all the way to blue. As you can see here, I have the, you can change it to any color you want. I like the neon pink, and I like the blue, this sky blue here. So what happens is if you change these lengths, and let's say you make it a longer look back, it's going to take a longer time, longer length. It's going to take a longer time for your candles to change. So if I made this a 100 right here, and I let it just kind of chill for a minute, you're going to see that the candles are going to get a lot slower in gradient. Let me see if okay, see, we still have a bull trend here. So the longer you make this look back, the longer it's going to take the change colors. So I like keeping it on a 10 and a 10. The momentum also changes. Also, let's just say if you make this shorter, you'll also get more signals or less signals. So I like to keep it on 10 and 10. You can do whatever you like, okay? Now, the other thing is that we have this automatic preset here. It's called STC. And this will give you the automatic preset for a 1 minute chart. But let's just say you want to use a 5 minute chart. You can go here to manual. And then what you want to do is you want to work your way backwards. So what you want to do is with this, what it does is it gives you the gradient that changes from a pump to a dump, which means it goes from being bullish to being bearish. Now, let's just say I'm starting with a 1 minute chart. If I'm starting with a 1 minute chart, I work my way backwards and I say, okay, what's half of 1 minute? 30 seconds. Then I go to what's half of that? 15 seconds. Okay, then what's, less than that or half of that? I go with 10 seconds. Less than that, 5 seconds and 1 second. So what this is doing is it's changing the gradient of the candle as these time frames are getting either bullish or bearish. So that's why you see that slow gradient, because you're seeing the smaller time frames turning bullish or bearish, and then finally the last one turns bullish, then you see the crossover, and then that means that the trend is changing. Now let's just say we wanted to do a 5 minute. So if we did 5 minute, what I would do is I would go to 3 minute. You can do custom, you can do 4 if you want. You could do 3 minute, you could do then 2 minute, then you could do a 1 minute, you could do 30 second, you could do 15 second, and so on and so forth if you're going to do a 5 minute. Now, some of you are not going to be using the upgraded version of TradingView. You're going to be using the free version with this indicator. So unfortunately, when you have a free version of TradingView, you're not going to be able to trade on the second charts. So the smallest chart that you're going to be getting the heat map on is probably the 5 minute. So what I would do is I would probably go with a I don't know if I could go custom. I can create custom 4 minute chart, I think. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I can create a custom 4 minute chart. I think I would have to go up here and create a new time frame. I would have to add new interval and go to minutes, go here to 4 minute, add. Let's see, we got a 4 minute now. We got 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, cool. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go in here now and we'll go into our intervals for the heat map, and we'll go to 4 minute, we'll go to 3 minute, we'll go to 2 minute, we'll go to 1 minute, and then we'll have to repeat 1 minute again. You're just going to have to do it because you don't get second charts. Now, if you do want to upgrade to a higher level, a basic level in the TradingView, I'll leave a link down below to get a discount on TradingView, but you don't need it to utilize this chart. The only issue is that if you do want to utilize this chart on a free version, the minimum you're gonna be able to see the heat map on, which is the gradient on the candles, is the 5 minute. And the other thing too is your CVD, which is this delta down here, is not going to be visible because it takes a lot of data. So they don't allow that on the free version of TradingView, but you'll still have the signals, you'll still have the trend indicators, and you're going to have everything else besides the second charts, and you're not going to have the CVD delta down here. Okay. Now next, so we're going to go here, candle coloring. If you don't like that your candles are being, if you want to take a look at the chart without the gradient, you can just unclick this and it'll take all the color off of the candles, and you'll just see green and red candles. Okay, it takes a minute, and there you go. Okay, now I like it, so I'm going to keep it on there. And the other thing is, if you don't want to see the pump and dump labels, now these pump and dump labels don't mean go long or short. It just means the trend is changing. Okay, it just means the trend is changing. It doesn't mean that go take a long as soon as you see a pump, or go take a short as soon as you see a dump. It doesn't mean that. And now this other box that you have here, which says real time. This real-time thing, you can check it on, and if you check it on, you're not going to get a signal on a candle until that candle is finished printing. Now, if you don't, if you want to see the signals as they're progressing, before the candle even closes, then you can leave it checked off. Okay, so if you want to see the pump signal, if you want to see the power short, power long signal, all that stuff, if you want to see it, or even the pump and dump, check it on. If you don't want to see it until it forms, or leave it off if you don't care. Okay. Now, next we're going to have key levels. This is pretty standard. What you're going to have here is you're automatically going to have your daily level showing. You can color that any color you want, the daily open. You're going to have your high and low, the daily high and low, the weekly high and low. Okay, that's really nice to see because you can see the high of the previous day, the high of the previous week, the low of the previous week. This is really important levels, guys. Really important. So you can color these any color you want. And then you're going to have the MV cloud, which is what you're seeing back here, this pink cloud or the green cloud that I'm talking about frequently. Now, this measures not only the momentum, but also the volume. So it's a combination of the two. I call it the MV cloud, momentum and volume. Okay, it doesn't just measure one or the other, it measures both. It's a really good indicator to see where price is likely to go. Okay, so I have that here with these colors. And now what you want to do here is under presets, if you want it to be more aggressive, where the trend changes quicker, you go to aggressive. Okay, and then you're going to get more, the chart's going to move quicker. Now, if you want to be very, very conservative, you go to conservative here, and then it's going to take longer for the crossovers to happen from red to green or green to red. I like to keep mine on moderate. It gives me a good sense of what the market is doing. It's not overly bullish or overly conservative or anything like that. I like it right there, but you guys can do whatever you like. It's totally up to you. Okay, so then we have some average ranges that we can mark out on the charts as well. These average ranges, what they do is they tell you how it takes the previous like 14 days or previous 4 weeks, and it tells you what is the average that the market moved in those days. So if you see price approaching those levels, it's probably a good idea to either take profits or start looking for maybe a reversal. So this you can do on the daily, the weekly, or the monthly. Okay, pretty cool. You guys can play around with that if you like. Very simple. And here it also gives you the highs and lows of the daily or the weekly ranges. So you can also play around with this if you like, color code it any way you want. Now here's some more very important things you need to look for, which is your high volume, right? This is the high volume. These are the candles that you'll see on my chart that have diamonds underneath them. Now I picked the diamonds because the other option, you don't even have to have them. You can get rid of them altogether if you want. You can uncheck these and you don't have to see any high volume candles. But if you think the diamonds are not your style, you can also color the bar, color the candle instead of having the diamonds, which is a little bit less cluttered on the chart. I do agree, but it also gives you more color differences in the candles, which I don't really like. I would rather see the diamonds because then you have to come up with a whole set of colors that are not going to kind of interfere with your gradient. So I like the diamonds a lot better, okay? Whatever you guys choose, that's totally up to you. All right, and here's the bread and butter. Here are the setups. These are signals for the setup. So under signals, I like to keep them all. Now, if you don't want to see counter trend signals, then just click on trend, and then you won't see any power short signals when you're in an uptrend, and you won't see any power long signals when you're in a downtrend. I like to keep it on all, and I like to decipher which ones to take or not. Don't blame the indicator if you're taking counter trend trades, I'm telling you, because you can just change it right here. All right, now next is consecutive signals. Do you want to see a signal after a signal, such as like a power short after a power short after a power short, or do you want to see like a killer crossover short and then a power short and then a dump? Like, if you don't mind that, then you can enable it. If you just want to see just one, then you can click it on disabled, up to you. Here's where you can turn on or off the bullish crossover absorption. Now the bullish crossover and the bearish crossover absorption candles, these are the killer crossovers, the killer crossover short or the killer crossover long. These don't necessarily tell you to go long or short. These just tell you that there's buyers and sellers willing to support this new level and buy or sell that new level. So start looking for an opportunity to get either long or short very soon. Okay, it doesn't mean go long or go short at that time. I don't. I wait for an opportunity after that, maybe a power long or power short after that, to take that trade. And then here you have the power signal candles. Now I have it set on all. You can have it where it's basically only if it crosses over the 21. So that kind of alleviates some maybe false signals. Okay, this one down here. Now the large one is, if you set to large, only large body candlesticks trigger. Okay, so only the high volume candles will trigger their power longs. I like it on all. Okay, I like it on all. It works better for me. I like it that way. So you guys can do whatever you want. You can check those on and off as you like. And then this is also very nice here. We have the opening range, or the IB, initial balance, right? I have it set on a 15-minute IB and a 1-hour IB. Now, if you guys don't want to use the 15 or the 1 hour, then what you could do is you can go to custom and you can use any time frame you want. You can use a 30-minute IB, a 45-minute IB, 3-hour IB. It doesn't matter. You guys can customize it right here, and you can color code those highs and lows of the IBs, or the initial balances. All right, so that's where you would do that. And then lastly, you have input and status line, which is, I have to be honest with you, it's not even worth unchecking, because I don't think it does anything that's gonna make a difference to you. But I keep it on just because I'm a little paranoid, so I keep it there. Now, the only thing I would change under style is I would make my VWAP thicker. I like a nice, highly visible VWAP, so I'm gonna put that. Other than that, guys, I mean, I really wouldn't change much under style or visibility. Obviously, I never mess with these anyway. But if you guys are like, really like to geek out on this kind of stuff, go for it. It's no big deal. You guys can do whatever you want, play around with it any way you want. Yeah, so it's pretty much it, guys. It's very simple to use. Once you've turned these settings on, using it is pretty much a cinch. I'm gonna create more videos on each individual strategy, and how to use the CVD, or how to use the signals, how to use the cloud, how to use the gradient on the candles, how to use the ATR, how to use everything that you see on this indicator. But right from the rip, I'm telling you, do some back testing with it, spend one session with it, and you'll start to see some patterns that keep repeating over and over again. Okay, now this is not a silver bullet. This is not a magic indicator package that's going to solve all your problems. You got to use some common sense. You can't be a pig. Obviously, you got to take profits, and you don't want to do dumb things like go long into resistance or go short into support. You got to kind of use your common sense too. But when you start to use that common sense, you're going to see that this thing is really good. Like, for instance, the market's just open right now. We're in a red wave, right? So we're in a red wave. We got a dump signal here. So we're really, really, really red, right? So let's start looking for some short opportunities. Okay. We had a power short signal here. We had another power short signal here. We had another power short signal in here. Obviously, this one was not as good. We got another power short signal here. This is the one I would have really wanted right here. Because why? Because we had a nice pullback into the wave. Nice power short, bang, bang, bang. We got a false breakout here with these power longs. You still could have made a little money on these power longs, but be careful. You don't want to go with longs when you have a red wave. Another power short signal right there. So guys, I can't tell you how this has changed my trading. I can't tell you enough how great it's been for me, but it just cleared up kind of what I'm seeing. It's kind of got me out of that dumb bias that I create sometimes in my head, because it's so simple to read, very simplistic. Anybody could use it, whether you're new, whether you've been trading for a long time. It's a no-brainer. Now, if you guys are just seeing this for the first time and you want to get a free trial to test this out, we're working on a 7-day trial right now. The developers are working on that, but you can get a free 3-day trial right now. If you would like to utilize this, go ahead and use that link down below to utilize this. You get a free trial. Very inexpensive to use after that if you want to continue using it. Also, if you want to see more videos on how to utilize this, I just created one the other day, which I'll link right here. I'll link right here. You guys can go ahead and check that out as soon as this video is over. But keep in mind, we also do go live every single day. So hit the notification bell. You guys can join us there, and you can see how we utilize these signals in real time. Also, join our free Discord community. Link down below, guys. We have an amazing crew of traders in there who have been at this for decades, and some traders who are brand new. So if you guys want to come into a community that is going to treat you with respect and not try to intimidate you, go ahead. Non-toxic community on Discord. Link will be down below. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I love you, and I will see you next time.